Hey, in this video, I'm going to give you three things, just three things that if you will do them every day, it's going to really improve your used car business. It's not difficult. It's nothing complicated. You just have to be willing to commit to do what? Do them every day. And actually, it's not really doing anything so much as it is paying attention to three things every day. So here's the first one. Number one is you have to know every day what is your average cost per used car in stock. Not rocket science, is it? But a lot of people have no idea what that cost is. Consequently, they aren't focused on it and it gets out of hand. So every day you need to know what the number is. So let's say you're at $25,000 today. Your mindset should be, what can you do to get it to 24.5, 24.5 to 24, and so on. There's no magic number. You just want to be conscious of the number and do whatever you can to impact that number moving south. Now, it's going to jump up from time to time, and that's okay. It really is. I mean, it might jump up because you traded a high dollar vehicle in. That's fine. We're not saying you shouldn't do that. All I'm saying, though, is that be aware of it. It went up, know why it went up, and seek a way to try to press it down. You might say, well, Tommy, what are you talking about? Are you saying that I should go to the auction and buy cheaper cars? No, I'm not saying that. I know how hard that is to do. I am saying be careful about what you buy, though, that's high dollar. Make sure you have a home for it, and at least make sure you have a plan for it to find a retail buyer. Now, another way to do this, though, is to also be conscious of those cars that have been coming into your inventory that are cheaper and that you've been wholesaling. See if you can figure a way to retail those cars. Now, oftentimes that gets down to the fact that your reconditioning costs are too high on them. Maybe your service department can work with you and do something to try to bring that cost down on those cars. But if you can keep some of the cheaper stuff, great. And I know you're probably trying to do that now. But again, if you focus on those higher dollar cars and you press your average cost down, you're going to be so much better off for it. Now, the second bullet point, but before I give you the second bullet point, do me a favor, hit the like button, leave a comment at the bottom if you would. Please leave a comment at the bottom. And if you don't like what I'm giving you, you could say so down there, or you can tell me what you think. It doesn't really matter, but leave a comment if you would. And hit the subscribe button. Okay, here's the second thing, and it ties closely to the first thing. The second thing is make a list of your 10 most expensive cars every day. Whatever your 10 most expensive cars are, make that list and attack them. What do I mean by attack them? Make sure that everybody gets a copy of that's on your management team. You want all of your managers to have top of mind awareness of your 10 most expensive cars in stock. Make sure the service director also gets a copy of these 10 cars, and make sure that you and the service director, if you happen to be the used car manager, GSM or GM, make sure that you and the service director have a clear understanding that if one of those cars that's on that list of the 10 most expensive cars, make sure that they understand that we have to get those cars through service in a hurry. Why do we have to get them through service in a hurry? Because those are the cars that you're subject to lose money on. Yeah, believe it or not, or you're not going to make a very good ROI on them unless you turn them quickly. These are sort of problematic cars. You may not think so, but they are. I'll tell you what, do me a favor. Go look at your buckets. If you're using vAuto, go look at your buckets of where it shows you the average price per car in stock. It'll show you like it shows you the days in inventory, and then it'll show you the average cost. Let me say that again. It'll show you like 1 to 10 days, 21 to 30 days, and so on. And then on the side over here, it'll tell you what the average cost of those cars are, right? Most of the time, those cars that you've owned the longest, like around 60 days or so, those will be, on average, the more expensive cars in your used car inventory. They're the ones that there's fewer butts that can fit in those seats. So the more attention I can bring to those cars with my management team, the better off we're going to be. I want all the members of the management team, including the BDC, desk manager, sales managers, to be aware of those cars. Understand, if we get a chance to sell one of those cars, we may have to take a little less gross rather. We always like to have more gross. We like to take may have to take a little less gross on those cars to make them go away. Look, if you got $75,000 in a car, you got to make a whole lot of gross on that car if you keep it much past 30 days. So number 2 bullet point is what? Number 2 bullet point is let's make sure that we pay attention to that 10 most expensive cars in stock. Now think about that. If you do that, do you see the impact it's going to have on your average cost per used car in stock? Bingo. Okay, here's my third one, But before I give you the third one, hey, if you need a recon tool, consider my Up Your Gross recon tool. It helps you manage life cycle management, which I'm going to talk about, but you don't need my software to do what I'm getting ready to talk about next. But if you have a need for it and you want to really amp it up, it's a great tool. And also it has a recon tool. The recon tool is really great. If you have a recon tool right now and you're currently using it, great. Don't switch, okay? But if you're not really using it and it's too complicated, mine's really simple and your team will use it. Okay, here's bullet point number 3, life cycle management. Understand that every car doesn't deserve the same life cycle. You need to be able to identify your most problematic cars on day one. I promise you, if you'll do this, and again, you don't need software to do it. If you don't do anything but identify problematic cars on day one and have a different plan on those cars to make them go away, i.e., they don't get 60 days. If it's a problematic car, you might only want to give it 30 or 45. So you might say, Tommy, what's your definition, Tommy, of a problematic car? First of all, the biggest problematic car that you have in your inventory is always an auction purchase car. If you buy it from the auction, you cannot treat it like a regular car. It ain't a regular car. You overpaid for it. I don't care how good a buyer you think you are or how good a buyer your buyer thinks he or she is. You ain't stealing nothing to the auctions, right? So you have to treat those cars differently. So I've identified that it's an auction purchase car. So now I'm going to shorten the life cycle on it to, let's say, 45 days. My goal or objective is to find a retail buyer at some number before we get to 45 days. Other problematic cars might be cars that you overappraise, that it's a bad equipment mix, it's a bad color. Let me ask you something. If a car is a bad color, what day was it a bad color on? It's a bad color on day one. It doesn't become a bad color on day 61. So if you would get focused and make sure that you identify your most problematic cars on day one and have a different strategy for those cars, strategies to the meaning you're going to shorten the life cycle on them, you would be so much better off. If you don't believe this is true, here's what I want you to do. Go take a look at your used car inventory right now. Go take a look at it and look at your oldest car in stock. I don't care if your oldest car in stock is 50 days or it's 75 days. Go look at it and then ask yourself this question. Why is that car still here? Why haven't you sold that car yet? 9 times out of 10, whatever you come up with was there and present on day one, but you ignored it. So here's the 3 things again. Quick little recap. Press your average cost down. Attack the 10 most expensive units in stock and put life cycle management in, meaning identify your problematic cars on day one. You won't have wholesale losses. You won't have aged units. Your used car department's going to be so much better. I'm Tommy Gibbs. If I can help you, reach out. Thanks so much for watching this video. And don't go yet. Watch this video right here. This video here will help you do a better job of managing your inventory. I'm Tommy Gibbs. Thanks for watching the video.